Seth, where them hands, where them holes, where them throws, you know what I'm saying?
This is a sensitive topic, the topic of marriage and the martial arts. I don't want anybody to know that I think that I'm talking about their marriage. And I also don't want people to think that because I've been married for about 20 years, that means I have it all figured out and that my life is perfect because nobody's life is perfect. Okay, even though I feel my spouse is wonderful, it doesn't mean she's perfect. Nobody's perfect. But when you're married and you're a martial artist, you have to be careful. If you and the person you're married are both into martial arts, that's great, that's wonderful. But sometimes you have to be careful not to spend too much time away traveling and too much time training. So that nobody that I have known either in life or online thinks I'm picking on them. And I knew I wouldn't have to go far to find this examples. I'm going to show some examples from a discussion board I found. I just typed in marriage martial arts and it came right up to show some of the stuff I'm talking about. Okay, here we go. You probably can't see this text, so I'm just going to read it to you. Someone who calls himself Jay Farnsworth, he's a grandmaster. He wrote down here, I can tell you from firsthand experience after having one failed marriage of her saying, quote, would you just stop going to the karate studio? End quote. I kind of thought one day a week of doing what I love to do was not asking for much. I don't know. Unfortunately, we have to part ways. My current wife now gets irritated when I practice at home, but I would say, would you rather me be at the bars running all God hours of the night or be at home? Just thought I'd share my experiences. Yes, I've tended to keep my training at once a week or twice a week, and I know I've irritated my significant other and even my kids, but this is something that can happen. What I did was I have seasons when it was just once a week, seasons when it's 2 or 3 times a week, and like for example, after I get a black belt in something, I stop and I take a few months with the family, and then I go back. The only exception to that was judo, was because job got in the way and I had to pick. It's like I can't be doing judo and taekwondo all the time. So I got around that by running my own judo club. Here's another example. From Kempo Geek. This is all martialtalk.com, by the way. And somebody had asked in a thread, have any of you martial artists married? Kempo Geek says, I understand where you're coming from. I know someone at the school who's been there before. He's an avid martial artist. Been training in different styles for years. His spouse, unfortunately, wasn't into it and complained a lot about his constant training. When I heard that he's going through a divorce, I'm not surprised, and it's a shame, as he's a knowledgeable and an animated guy. I can only hope for the best of him, and I can only hope the best for him, and that this won't stop his training. It probably won't. If I'm right, this won't stop him. Hopefully, he'll be back when he feels the time is right. All the best. Yep. You know, spouses have this strange thing, like they want to spend time with you. You know, maybe that's why they married you, because they love you and they want to see you, right? Let me see this one. No, this is positive because this person called Searcher said he was already a black belt when his wife met him at the dojo. At brown belt, she needed to get some teaching in time, and I needed an assistant instructor. And she started assisting me with my classes. After 1 month, I asked her out, and 1 year to the date I asked her out, I asked her to marry me. She has been my assistant instructor since that time. We've now been married for 3.5 years and are still going strong. She's always stuck with me, and we both back each other up. We're always going to train together, and it keeps us tight. And here's another post. This is Big Cat 63. He started training, and then he met his wife, and she started training, and she got a black belt. They're still together, so that's cool. Oh, this is good. This right here is good. So I'm going to take a look at this. I'm married to a black belt. He wasn't in karate when we got together, but joined shortly afterwards. Before I joined him in karate, I didn't really mind the nights that he spent at the dojo. This is Fight Back 2. It made him happy, so I was happy, and it gave me the house to myself to curl up and read in peace. And that's something I'll say in my own marriage that my wife has learned to like. It's like, you guys go on Saturday mornings when all three of us were going. Why? Oh, I get the house to myself, and she can watch what she wants to watch on TV and get stuff done. So, of course, I'm happier now that we're doing it together. Right? Right. Watching my sense now, this is not me saying this. I'm reading this from a discussion board, okay? Watching my sensei and his wife is a complete different story. When she shows up at the dojo, rarely thank you very much, she doesn't even speak to the rest of us. She has made it extremely clear that, though, that if sensei spends more than a couple of nights a week in the dojo, he's in deep expletive deleted by me. I think that's why he's always saying thank you over and over again to the black belts who teach on the nights when he can't make it. He was in karate for many years before they got together. Now, one thing I can say, playing devil's advocate to a spouse, now, if you weren't into martial arts when they met you, see, when people marry you, they kind of expect you to be like whatever you are like when they meet you. That's something I figured out in hindsight. So then, all of a sudden, you take up this new interest, and then you're giving all this time devoted to this interest, it's going to throw them off. Because I know that was something I had to deal with, because when I met my wife, I wasn't taking formal classes. But I would practice and stuff and still stretch out, you know. And I was doing music, so I think she expected me to keep doing music when I would go out. But then that group was not going to go pro. We broke up. So then I just subbed out that time for martial arts. So then I'm sure she was like, well, I thought he was going to be home more because he's not doing music. But I just subbed out the time. And you know what? You know what really helped me personally? I can say this from my experience. And not just her, other people in my family. Once I became an instructor and I started getting paid for my time away from the house, she respected it more. It's like when you got to the point where other people respecting you, then people that know you start respecting you because they feel like you're not just some madman going on about this thing. Oh, he's actually serious about this because people are paying him money for it. So, and then when another way to sell it to your spouse too is to start talking about how, especially with me teaching through the county, it's a criminal background check. I have to have a criminal background check to be able to teach for the county. It shows I'm not up to no good. And, in that it helps because some people use it as a third-party validation for customer service skills. So once they see those other benefits, and especially now that I'm getting older, it's exercise. It makes me exercise because you have to be healthy enough to be able to teach the class. So those type of benefits, and get your kids involved in it too. When you get your kids involved in it and they see the positive effects on the kids and it becomes a family thing, that also helps to sell it as well. Now, this person says here, too bad for him. I feel sorry for the instructors that have to go through this. I had one instructor that had the same problem, still ongoing, doesn't train anymore. And it makes for some tense situations. Her problem with the whole thing was that their son was not the one that the school was going to be left to. I know this has happened elsewhere, and it has not gone over well. It's a shame. Yes, it is. Now I got this thing right here from this that's still on this Marshall Talk thread, and then I'm going to close. This is from Dronak. Dronak is saying no, he hasn't gotten married. No, because I'm still single and looking. Martial arts is a more recent interest, though it is not exactly the best way to meet women. It's not. Ballroom dancing is my main social activity, and there are a lot more women participants. I could see that. Assuming I don't eventually, assuming I do eventually get married, I think it will be more likely that I'll marry another ballroom dancer than another martial artist. Most of the women that I have met in martial arts are already like married or spoken for or something. And then you got the thing of, do you want to bring relationship stuff into your martial arts training? That's something I think would be a problem. But I've told my wife too. It's like, I hope you're not worried about me cheating on you. Honestly, when I go to class, I'm not thinking like that or about that for real. I never have been. I would think it would be easier for a woman to go into martial arts to meet a husband than for a man to go into martial arts to meet a wife. Because it tends to be more men participating in the activity than women. So I would recommend that if a woman wanted to find a guy, she should join martial arts. Because this is the thing. Even if a lot of the guys that you meet in the class don't go, oh, they're all married, I'm gonna let a little secret out. Even though a lot of guys may be married, they have friends that are single. And whether we are consciously doing it or not, because I know I'm not, but I know I just do. Every once in a while, I'll go, if one of my single friends starts complaining about something, I'm like, so and so is single. Why don't you? And if you act right and you're cool and they feel like you're good to get along with, then you could get a referral. If you come to class and you work hard and you're very nice, lady, they won't mind referring you to any single friends that they have. It's just like everything else in life. If you present yourself well, then a lot of times people will recommend you for other avenues. But as far as a guy meeting women, I don't think that would really work unless you're talking about being a professional fighter. I wouldn't even say necessarily like national level competitors because I've never been a national level competitor. I've only competed locally. Definitely on a local level. As far as a way to meet women, probably not so much. But for a female to meet guys, yes. And I will plug one style because somebody said this. Apparently, this is a slogan. I've heard that a judo man is a good man. I guess. I am technically a judo man, and I hope I'm a good guy. Even though Taekwondo is my main moniker. But I've heard people say that. I've heard a judo man is a good man. So, is there something to that? You have to ask the lady that said it. So, I don't know. As far as me personally, all I can tell you is whatever you want takes time, and you have to invest time in it if you want to have it. That includes your martial arts training, that includes your family, your friends, and everything else in life too. Budget your time wisely, budget your time in balance. Peace.